lounging, son.
Welcome back to the Comic Lounge. My name's Ryan, and today we're going to be talking about one of the hottest books of the last month, hands down, and that's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: Last Ronin. Now, before we get into this, let me first off apologize for the glare. This cover is very shiny, so that's why it's reflecting anything that is above, including the camera. But let's talk about how insane the hype has been for this book. Now, it's not unwarranted. I've talked about how it almost seems as if people are coming back to Turtles comics after not realizing that there's been a Turtle comic book for the last like 8 years. And I mean, obviously Turtle fans know, but it seems like almost the larger audience hasn't realized that there's been a Turtle comic. And I think that the reason that also the hype is that we get Eastman and Laird's story that they wrote all the way back when. And now it's finally being put together in an oversized format. And I mean, it's sold out, 150,000 copies, and it's already going to a second print. Multiple covers. And as a diehard Turtle fan, I got to say, it is phenomenal. I'm going to spoil who the Last Ronin is by the end of this episode. So if you have not read it yet, then I'm warning you now. And all I will say right now before I do spoil it towards the end is I knew who I thought it would be, and I was spot on. So I'm gonna quickly go into it. You know, stories like I said by Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird. Tom Waltz as well as on story. The script itself is by Tom Waltz and Eastman. Layouts by Kevin Eastman. Pencils and inks by Isao and Isaac Escorza. Page 39 art is by Ben Bishop. Color assistants Samuel Plata. Colors Luis Antonio Delgado. Letters Sean Lee. And here are, like I said, some of the covers. This is the cover A that I have. The retailer incentive cover A was by Kevin Eastman. The retailer incentive cover B, Mateus Santaluoco. And a convention exclusive by Kevin. So right off the bat, you know, we're quickly introduced to, you know, who the Last Ronin is, and it is one of the Turtles. He's the last one left, right? As you can see, I mean, you saw from the cover, right? But we have the Raphael side. We have Donatello's bow. We have a katana, and he also has nunchucks. So we don't really find out until it gets towards the end. But he's talking to somebody, and we keep hearing somebody else talking to him, and you know we realize that he's really talking to himself. And this is New York in the future. You can see it's all walled in, and kind of some Japanese architecture signifying that the foot is running the show, right? I absolutely love the art. I love the design. This is a grizzled, older turtle who has been through some shit and has had to suffer through losing his fellow brothers. You know, as we see, you know, kind of a cyberpunk type vibe going on in this gritty city. We see the shadows of his fallen brothers, and that's why I was alluding to, like, that he's talking to himself, but he's really talking to the ghosts of his brothers. And we, you know, here we see, check it out. He says, check it out, Jones. And which leads me to believe maybe a relative of Casey Jones in the future. Just the grittiness of this story, the art is just, it's so unlike really, I think, kind of what we're reading right now in the ongoing Ninja Turtle series, but it does harken back to those early days of the 80s comics, you know. And I love this line in particular. You can take the turtle out of the sewer, but you can't take the sewer out of the turtle. And he's continuing to talk to the ghosts of his brothers. Very action-packed issue. I don't want to get too much into the details of the story. I'll kind of just wanted to kind of show you guys what this is about. I know it's been hard to find. Be patient. Like I said, there is a second print coming out. And I mean, from the shop I work at, the demand was very high, but I think IDW also wasn't aware of how successful this would really be, and underprinted. I think if they would have maybe doubled their numbers, they probably could have sold like 300,000 copies of this book, because it was that popular and it was so sought after. The 2 days leading up to the release and going into Wednesday. And here we meet a descendant of Orokusaki, who's now leading the foot. And if you're with me this far, I'm I think this is kind of starts to become, on second read, you can kind of see who's talking right now, right? It's orange. We see red. So we still don't know who Last Ronin is. But the reveal is really dope. And like I said, I was right. And very excited that I was right. Because I think a lot of people thought it was going to be a certain turtle, and it's not. It's kind of the one that you wouldn't expect, which I think is also a smart choice on their part. See the flying mousers, Stockton's mousers going on. He is look. I mean, just it's even more violent again than some of the newer Turtles comics book. I mean, look at that. He's fucked up, man. And blood coming out of his mouth. His bones are broken. He's trying to escape into the sewer. This particular page was very, very cool. Talks about how he knew it was a suicide mission and needed to end it. He wants to end it now on his terms for his family and for honor. And then we see him. He's taking basically he's taking his whole outfit off and coughing up blood. We see him hold each individual weapon. The katana is actually broken. Lays them out in front of him. And again, we're seeing this pain right in the eyes, which is not easy always to convey, but just done so phenomenal. Has all the weapons laid out, different colored bandanas. He's wearing a black one, right? Saying, "Sorry, Father, he failed. Please forgive him." And then the Jones descendant, right, says, "Oh shit, you're a mutant turtle." And then and this is where we learn who Last Ronin is. We get the flashback into the sewer, their younger days, and then we come back and we have an older April O'Neil nursing Michelangelo back to health. Yes, Michelangelo is the Last Ronin, and I guessed it. Dylan from the podcast, that's another fellow comic lounger, he also guessed it right, and very rewarding. And I mean, I can't even tell you, it made me want the next issue so bad, and waiting a month is going to be hard for sure. But yeah, that's The Last Ronin, and it's easy to see why this book was so popular, so sought after. It was a great package. The story of Eastman and Laird's, original story coming back, being published after all these years, is just very exciting for old and new Turtle fans alike. We get the covers, all the different store covers, all the different retailer exclusive covers, which there are a lot of them, and that is Last Ronin. So if you haven't been able to find a copy, like I said, make sure you ask your local comic shop, get you a second print. Maybe they still have some first prints. I know eBay's kind of going crazy with the prices, but this is definitely a story that I think really anybody, even if you don't really know too much about the Turtles, I think you can still pick this up and enjoy. But for those diehard Turtle fans, this is definitely something that you will want to read. And if you're not already following us, make sure you follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at The Comic Lounge. Throw your comments or suggestions down below, or email us, thecomicloungepod@gmail.com. And make sure you hit the subscribe button so you're notified every time a new episode goes up. We also have an audio podcast on Podbean, Spotify, or iTunes. And make sure you subscribe there as well. And on that note,